Footbap Nation!
Let's ride!
Welcome back, everyone, to the Fantasy Footbaps podcast, a special episode for everyone because you know what it is, Paul. It's playoff week, baby. We got the playoffs. We've got teams in the playoffs. We got teams out of the playoffs, Paul. And, dude, it's going to be a wild ride all the way through. Paul, you ready to get into things?
I cannot wait. SEC football gets me excited too.
This is the SEC on CBS. But before we get to the playoff stuff, we're going to go through last week's matchups and everything. We're going to show you guys how everything panned out, how the bracket looks, and then, you know, we're going to we polled some of you guys, asked you who you thought was going to win it all. So we're going to go over those results, and then me and Paul are going to pick our own brackets, and it's going to be a good time. So what do you say, Paul? Should we get into this?
Yeah, let's get it going.
All right. So let's start first off with last week's results. So we'll start off with the important ones first, so we don't waste too much time on shit that didn't really matter, although things did matter for seeding. So first of all, spoiler alert, already, one of the games isn't going to matter because as you know, the last spot was up between Chip, Dave, and Mike. And Chip was in a win and you're in situation, and Chip wins 136 to 127. It was looking, you know, kind of scary there for a little bit because they were projected like around the same points, but you know, you get 6 points from Jared Goff, and that's what's going to do it to you. And if you look at Chip's team, it's just hysterical to think like he got DK Metcalf basically for free. Nico Collins got injured, but you know, he got Nico for free. Lamar for free. No, actually, that was a swap where it was Lamar and who else?
Fields.
Yeah, it was a Lamar and Fields swap. No, but I mean, even Joe Mixon is coming alive late. Like Chip's team was not looking good, and then he made those trades and his team looked like it was going to be at least like solid, like it wasn't going to be not good anymore. And now after these last 2 weeks, now it just looks like Chip's team, I'm going to throw it out there right now, Chip's team is at least the second best team in the league right now, at least the second best. We'll see what happens with Kyle, but Diggs is on like a little bit of a cold streak right now, so
yeah,
that's
also Chip gets 13.5 from his kicker. If he got a kicker usually gets around 2, maybe 2 to 5 on a good day.
Yeah,
he could have lost. Could have lost if it was just regular kicker day.
Yeah, no, he got a historic kicker performance. 13.5, I think, is the most we've ever seen on this scoring. That's actually bizarre. Dude, George Kittle, like, what can you do? Like, in Dewey's defense, like, I think when he traded Kittle was after he had like the 10.5 point week. But like, what the fuck? He gets George Kittle, and George Kittle turns into prime Gronk, basically. But like I said, Joe Mixon was horrible. 8, 11, 13, 8, 11, 7. And now you know, Chip got him 19, 15, 12, 19, 27, 20. Like, he just randomly remembered how to play football. For seeding purposes, Gorman losing to Chip means that Gorman could potentially lose the number 2 seed, which he had, if Austin were to win, and Austin did win. Austin plays Paul. It was never close. Paul's team, I'm throwing it out there right now, Paul's team is the worst team in Footbaps history. He didn't score over 100 points a single time this season. He was never, the only game that Paul could have had a chance in was the week he played me, and I scored 151, so it ended up not really mattering anyways. That was like his one chance this year.
I think actually both of my highest scoring weeks were against you. I had 97 both times, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say because you definitely scored over 95 minimum in both of those, and yeah, they were both against me. But who was it on? Yeah, so the second Njoku caught 2 30-yard touchdowns, I was like, all right, Austin won this one. But and also, actually, you know what? I knew this was over when Zeke scored 24, because remember I was texting you. I think you were in Florida, right?
Yeah. I thought Deontay Johnson was starting too. I didn't even look, but
I thought he was too, because Austin had been starting him every week for like 8 weeks, and then I was like, no fucking way he caught a 30-yard touchdown. It was like, but no, he at the same time though, like he put Sutton in for him, and Sutton caught his weekly touchdown. I mean, is Sutton the most bizarre fantasy player of all time? He Like this year, he's only scoring like 15 points, 13 to 15 points every week, and it's just because he's scoring a touchdown. If he doesn't score a touchdown, he's unstartable. But he just scores touchdowns every fucking week. He catches like a 50-yard touchdown.
I'd say Sutton and Mostert are tied for most bizarre.
Oh yeah. Did you see Devon Achane is averaging like 10 yards per carry?
Damn. Yeah, it's sad,
actually.
Dude. I wanted Achane, but
if you had Achane,
just ruined his value. I mean, like he's great, but if he was a starter, dude, I can't imagine how great he would be.
Oh yeah. But either way, so Gorman loses to Chip, which means Chip secures his playoff spot, and which also means Gorman loses the number 2 spot because Austin beats Paul. So that a spoiler alert for the bracket right now, Austin is the number 2 seed despite being like the 4th lowest scorer on the year. He is the number 2 seed, but his team is looking like it's actually getting better because Stevenson getting injured means that Zeke, like he has a running back now. His main issue this whole year was he was starting Miles Sanders week after week, getting him like basically 0 points. And his other issue was quarterback, but I think Sam Howell and Will Levis, for the most part, are going to get him like 16 points at minimum. And Sam Howell actually has been doing even better. It looks like he hasn't gotten less than 17 since week 8. Yeah, that's a big win for Austin, a big win for Chip. The ESPN was projecting me to finish second, which means that naturally I lost to Nick. I actually lost to Nick twice this year, by the way. It was either Nick or Austin that had never beaten me in this league. But they definitely, at least neither of them never beat me twice in a year. And Nick did just that. Now, obviously, Herbert got me 1 point before he broke his finger and got out for the season. But my season's pretty much fucking toast. I made the playoffs, which is great. I made it as the 7th seed, which is hilarious because it looked like I was going to be the 2 seed for a while. But as you guys know, I lost Tank Dell last week, who was a top 10 wide receiver. I lost Isaiah Pacheco this week, who is a top 10 running back. And then the fantasy gods decided to take both Justin Herbert and CJ Stroud away from me. So now I don't have a quarterback, and there weren't any quarterbacks on waivers either. And we'll show you guys what happened with waivers later on. But shout out to Nick. He ends the season on a win and a tie. So, after looking like he was going to be down bad all year, he doesn't end with double-digit losses, which is more than
we expected. That though, he was 4-1 end of last year. I think the previous year as well.
Oh yeah, and wait. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at how he did it.
2-0-1 now, I believe, in the last 3 games.
So Nick's just a late season. Nick just has to survive those first 10, 11 weeks, and then because think about it, the time he did make the playoffs, he did win it all. That was the year that I benched Brady and Myles Gaskin. I'll never forget that. I went back and looked at that. It was way more depressing than I thought. The year that I lost to Nick. So I lost to Nick in the championship 92.5 to 63. In case you're wondering, Le'Veon Bell scored 3 points. What?
Nothing. That was the Kamara. I was like, how the fuck did I get 199? But that was Kamara.
Yeah, 6 touchdowns. You were 12-1. You were 12-1 that year. Didn't win at all. Man, that's literally I was making fun of you for that, and then the next year I had the 12-2 greatest season in history, and now mine was because I lost Eckler and Mike Evans, or was it Jefferson? Either way, I lost both of those. You know how people say, like, hey, we won the bye week this week as like a joke? I lost the bye week when I had my first round bye because Eckler and Jefferson got hurt during my bye week, and then I was fucked. But I still went back and looked. The funny thing is I thought that I had them injured, and then I was like, I thought it was like over. Like my team must have sucked because I lost my 2 best players. False. I actually looked, and I lost to Dave like 145 to 125. So I still did really fucking good. It's just Dave had like a master class on me. But this game is so depressing because this is what I started Le'Veon Bell over Gaskin, and obviously Gaskin scored 30, Le'Veon 3. If I played Gaskin and Tom Brady, I won. But I don't remember my team being this good. Look at how fucking crazy this shit was. So all year long, 110, 101, 118, 161, 110, 96, 135, 110, 90, 116, 107, 94, and then 127, 119, 126, and then in the championship game I scored 63, bro.
Oh man, that's tough. I was just looking at Nick's team, and it's like a classic Nick team with Leonard Fournette and like Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins. Just classic to see those guys.
Yeah, no. For some reason, now I'm going to think differently. But for the longest time, I associated with Calvin Ridley and Leonard Fournette with Nick because I feel like he had both of them every single year. And Mahomes, Mahomes still going strong. But yeah, how crazy is that? I've scored 100 points every fucking week, and then I scored 63 in the championship. So fucking funny. But yeah, so we were going to look at Nick's ending this year. Yeah, he ended 2-0-1. So yeah, Nick is a late season team. Nice. His team gets it going late in the season. Last year it was Cam Akers. This year, let's see who.
I don't know what it could be.
I guess Najee kind of for a while there, but I don't think. Oh, this year
Rashad White.
Rashad White for the most part. I'd say Cato not actually had been doing pretty good too. But regardless, shout out to Nick, dude. He's a strong finisher. You got to make sure he doesn't win games early, or else he's going to make the playoffs and he's going to make a run late. Huge upset here, and shout out to Dubag and Nick. Two teams with 2 wins on the year, and neither of them rolled over and went baby Wawa mode and traded their players to Chip and gave him a free championship. Both of them, they went out and tried and won some games. Paul, what do you think about that?
It's very honorable. I don't know what asshole would do that.
So yeah, major upset. Dewey beats Steve. Doesn't matter in the long run because Steve had the bye week all set up. Shout out to Steve also for being a good sport. Dewey texted me Sunday afternoon and was like, I accidentally left Ramondre in my lineup. Can you take him out and put Saquon in? And I was like, I don't know. Ramondre already played. You can text Steve and see if he's all right with it. Because in my mind, I was like, Steve has the bye week. He might not give a shit. And yeah, Steve didn't give a shit. He let him change his lineup, and that's why Dewey beat him, essentially, because Saquon got him 22 points. But yeah, great. Just a feel-good story. 2 feel-good stories on the year are just, it's Dewey starting 2-8 or 0-8 and ending 4-10, and it's Nick starting, whatever he started, ending 2 wins and a tie. Both of them just turning it around late and not giving up, dude. It was pretty cool to see, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. It's unfortunate that other team couldn't do it.
No, I'm not even saying anything about you. I'm saying it's just cool that they were looking so bad and then they just win games at the end. It's kind of funny. Now this was supposed to be a great matchup, and this turned into just a piss bowl. I mean, Dave versus Mike, you always know it's going to be a scrappy matchup, but Dave scored 77 and loses to Mike 98-77. Doesn't matter. Mike ends 7-7, so he doesn't make the playoffs. Now, if Mike might have started tight end last week, we could have had a different story. Now, thankfully for Mike, otherwise this thumbnail had Chip lost to Gorman and Mike won. Chip would have been 7-7. Mike would have been 8-6, and Mike would be in the playoffs. Thankfully, Chip won his game, so it didn't come down to that for Mike. Otherwise, today's thumbnail would have just been Mike's face with dumbass stamped on his forehead because he didn't set the tight end.
Saved in the arsenal, ready to go. But
dude, I was so ready, especially when it was getting close. Because me, Dave, and Mike were on Discord Sunday at some point, I want to say, and all I could think about was at that point, Chip was projected to lose, and I was like, holy shit. And Mike was projected to win, and I was like, if Mike wins and he doesn't make it because he loses tiebreaker against Chip, that would be devastating. Just because he didn't set a tight end, because he somehow mathematically eliminated himself in his own head. I don't know where he got that from. But man, I think Dave lost to Mike twice this year, so maybe this isn't really a rivalry anymore, Paul. Maybe Mike is kind of Dave's daddy.
Yeah, looking to seem that way. I don't know how it's gonna pan out in the future, but yeah, Mike has his number.
This quarterback matchup is absurd. Jalen Hurts 8 points, Josh Dobbs 4 points. I was telling Mike Sunday, I was like, why did you start Josh Dobbs, who they said might be benched, instead of Browning? Got him 24 points, but Mike won anyways, so it didn't really matter, and Chip won anyway, so it didn't really matter. But we love a good Dave-Mike matchup. Dave misses the playoffs for the second time in Baps history. Now he had made it every year since 2017, and like with ease, right? Like he had never really.
He's always top dog.
Yeah, him and Steve for like 4 years were just going back and forth trading bye weeks, and we're always the two top teams in the West. So I don't know. Dave's gonna have to go back to the drawing board. At the same time, Dave kind of got fucked though. Like if we think about it, remember he was 0-4 to start, even though his team was fine, and then he was scoring points, but I think he just I think he lost games even with scoring a lot. I want to check that for sure because yeah, like he lost 121 to 114. Like that's a killer. I guess that was the only one, but yeah, it's did he have any other bad losses? Like 98? No, I guess he didn't really get all that fucked.
Really.
He didn't really get all that fucked, but, you know, I still thought his team was decent. At the end of the day, Josh Jacobs is shit as fuck, dude. I don't care what anyone says. He was starting Chiguyoko at tight end. That feels bad. Congrats, Mike. Strong finish to the season. Could have been stronger, but at the same time, you would have lost the tiebreaker to Chip, so don't beat yourself up too much. And now this has seeding implications too, I believe. Yeah, because Kyle beats Ryan. So instead of Ryan being a 4-5 seed, I believe, or maybe even a 3 seed, he would have been a 3 seed because he would have been one game ahead of Kyle. Instead of that, Ryan ends up losing to Kyle 95 to 87. And yeah, it's what are your thoughts on Ryan at this point in the season?
Well, losing your first round pick for the season and the second game is really tough. So, I mean, the fact he did do well is impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that with Drake London, Gabe Davis, and Tyler Algier on his bench all year. And Tyjae Spears. He barely changed around his team. Like he had the same team since the beginning.
He still has Nick Chubb on his roster too, right?
Yeah,
in memory of Nick Chubb.
Yeah, he barely changed his roster around, and it just worked out. So, got to give props to Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan. His team's kind of fallen apart a little bit at the finish line, but at the same time, Ryan has just he has a boom bust team, wouldn't you say? It's like he's either gonna score 150 or he's going to score 80. That was pretty much the theme of his season all year long from what I remember. And I think it's a big win for Kyle being the 3 seed like that, because I think if he lost, I would imagine he would have been, and we're going to look at the playoff bracket in a second. So I'm kind of going off the top of my head. But I think if he would have won, I think he would have been a 4 or 5 seed and been in Steve's bracket. And I would say, not only that, but I think it would have been Kyle would have been playing Chip in the first round, and then if he won, he'd have to play Steve. So big win for Kyle, actually. So, I think Kyle avoided Chip and Steve's bracket with that one. But yeah, this was we're gonna check the playoff bracket in a second here, but that's how the matchups went this week. Paul, do you wanna reveal the bracket real quick?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We got some shit happening.
Okay, so let's first go over the standings. So I think we already said it, but Austin finishes first place in the East. Now this is a feel good story also. Now, I understand Austin didn't score a lot of points. I think the last week. Okay, so he ends his 4th lowest score still, even after putting up 140 this week. So I know Austin didn't score a lot of points, but Austin has never made the playoffs in Footbaps. So his first season making the playoffs, not only does he make the playoffs, he finishes first in the East. I bet if we looked at final standings for most of these years, he's never finished over 3rd in the East. One year he had a chance to make the playoffs, and he accidentally benched Dalvin Cook and lost by 2 points in the last week of the season. And I was like, why'd you do that? And he was like, I thought I read a report that he was out. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? So no, a feel-good story for Austin getting that 1 seed. Gorman ends with the 2 seed. Chip ends with the 3 seed in the East. I end with the 4 seed in the East. Kind of crazy because I think just last week I was 2. And if Gorman lost and I won, I would have had the 1 seed. Instead, everything went to shit. I lost everyone. 5th seed or 5th place team in the East is Nick, 4-9-1. Last place in the East, Paul, and I don't think we're ever going to see that again. You being last place in the East, but it still is like when I was 2-5, I was like, my team's going to get back on track, because at that point I lost 2 bullshit games. Realistically, I should have been 4-2 or whatever the fuck. And with your team, I might not have like seen it as much. Like I was still confident you were going to come back and at least end like 6-8, you know? Like, I would have never guessed in a million years you'd finish 2-12 and be last place overall in the league. Sole possession of last place by 2 games, and last place in the East. Yeah, so I like when you were 2-5, same as me. Did you ever picture this? Because I think you were 2-5 at one point.
Yeah, I think so. But no, I did not think I would be last place overall in the league. I thought making the playoffs was a slim chance. I thought I'd be able to put up a fight, but the trades I made just didn't work out, you know.
Jordan trading for Jordan Addison and Alexander Mattison after Kirk Cousins sustains a season-ending injury. You know, speaking of trades, Mike. That's speaking of trades, Paul. You made a trade in another league, first of all, one of my toxic traits is that when someone is asking me for fantasy advice or anything, I get invested in their team, or when they tell me about their team, I get invested in their team. I'm rooting for their team. And you came to me one day talking about trades, and we cooked up like this awesome, you traded CMC and you got Kamara and Mike Evans and who else?
And Olave.
And Chris Olave. It was like an awesome deal. You got all these fucking awesome players, and you lose McCaffrey, but like, let's be honest, Kamara probably has scored like
very much the same thing.
Yeah, So I was like, yeah, nice. I was so pissed because Paul sent me one of the other trades he made in that league. And for the viewers out there that don't know,
that I forgot about.
Is it even? It can't be worse than
it's pretty close.
Okay, so Paul, without even consulting anyone, made one of the worst trades I've ever seen. So this is the one trade I'm aware of that he sent me. So you were so embarrassed you didn't send me.
All right.
This makes it worse. Kyler Murray had a torn ACL till like week 11. Paul traded Nico Collins, top 12 wide receiver, Rashad White, top 5 running back, for Hollywood Brown and Elijah Moore.
And
two unstartable players. I don't even.
4th round draft pick included, which is about equal to Cam Akers. So
yeah, I was gonna say about equal to piss and shit. Yeah, maybe the worst trade I've ever seen. Basically, two, a wide receiver 1 and a running back 1 for 2 players that you literally can't start. What's the other trade, Paul?
The other one might be. I didn't tell you about this because I forgot. I honestly forgot. I thought. No,
you were embarrassed. Ridley. You were embarrassed,
weren't you? Because I had Ridley in our league and I drafted him. I had him in my other league and I forgot that I traded for him. So yeah. Trading for Ridley was not a great
idea. What did you trade for Ridley, Paul?
September 28th, so I think that's week 4.
No, and this was after he had already had ass weeks.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I know it's there. I'm feeling it, you know. Okay, so Zay Flowers, who turned out pretty well, and Cortland Sutton, touchdown merchant for Calvin.
For Calvin Ridley.
2 for 1, yeah. So like Zay and Cortland for Ridley, I mean, both of them, I'd rather have than Ridley.
Yeah, it's not good, but it's at least not giving up a top 5 running back and top 10-ish wide receiver, you know?
Yeah, but I'd have an easy flex spot.
And and you didn't make the playoffs in that league, right?
No, man, it came down to last week. I lost by 4 because Diggs and Herbert were in my starting lineup, and Mike Evans. Mike Evans, God. Diggs, and Herbert combining for 5 points, I believe. That's pretty insane. And I lost by 4.
That's awful. That's awful. Thankfully, since I've been playing fantasy, because I remembered it this year, it doesn't matter anymore because last year in my work league, I switched things up and missed the playoffs. But that still was the only time I missed the playoffs in fantasy. I'm just waiting for my time to come in Footbaps. So, like, I can just get... I thought that this year would be the year, like, kind of get it over with and then, like, have a new year. I almost wish that's what happened now looking at, like, all the injuries I've had and shit. Because like what the playoff streak means nothing if my team doesn't have a chance to like win it all, you know. But luckily I made the playoffs in all my leagues. And you didn't make the playoffs in a single league, right?
No, I'm only in these two, and this is the one I was top scorer, top record at 6-3, and I end 7-7.
Oh, so you had a
Just a
chip. You had a chip like collapse, like starting
pretty
five
much,
and zero
yeah,
and then losing like almost everything.
yeah. It was really bad.
Yeah, that's
So
tough. Kyle made the most moves on the year, so you've officially been beat there.
wow,
You
damn,
ended on a 6-game losing streak, so I guess you were 2-6 at one point. So you so
not bad.
so you were 1-5, and then you won, or you were 1-6 and then won a game. So you were never 2-5. Either way, 1-6 is even worse. So I don't know why I'm in the West. Steve, as we know, 10-4, top seed in the West. Second place, Kyle. Third place, Ryan. Fourth place, Mike. Fifth place, Dave. And then Dewey, sixth place. I don't think we're ever going to see Dave in the bottom two in the West for a long time either. Like I can't imagine
No.
it.
Me and Dave are gonna be mocking all summer. I guarantee.
Yeah, I don't
We're
know
not
if
getting
I
last
think we
again.
need to take the mock drafts away from you. We need to take the mock drafts away from you, and
Nah,
we
get
need to get
trading
you
away from
back
me.
on Twitter, dude. Because
No, no, no.
when you were using Paul, this is the first year you didn't have Twitter during fantasy, and your TikToks and YouTube were telling you to trade for Hollywood Brown, Elijah Moore, and Quentin Johnston. It was
No,
week 8 and Quentin Johnston had one catch on the year, and you were watching TikTok saying to trade Calvin Ridley for Quentin Johnston because he
no
was
way.
up next.
No way.
Do you
It
think
was
if you
just
had Twitter you wouldn't have made those dumbass trades?
no. Maybe not. I
uh,
don't really watch like too much fantasy shit. Like,
yeah.
yeah, sometimes I like watch like the overall rankings and shit, but like not like you need this guy, you need to trade for him. I
Yeah, no,
just make some dumbass decisions.
I don't listen to any advice talking about anyone to trade for or anything like that, or to trade away. Like, otherwise, if I did that, I would have traded away Garrett Wilson and Tony Pollard and like half my fucking team, because all those fucking dumbass fantasy content creators were like, trade Garrett Wilson away for T. Higgins. And it's like, yeah, how the fuck did that work out for you, moron? Or like, trade Tony Pollard and you just try to get Alexander Madison. It's like, yeah, right, okay. Um,
Yeah, we just need
fantasy like content creators like that make like those kind of videos. I think they're just like reactive guys. Like I feel like they'll just flip flop week after week based on like what they see. And they're
yeah,
also probably trying to just like create engagement by having bad takes, you know?
right. Just putting out as much shit as you can to see how if anything sticks.
Right. So those are the standings. Congrats to Kyle, highest scorer on the year, because he's gonna get the money for that. Lowest score on the year was Paul by like almost 100, which is crazy. I know it's not. It's like 60, but like that's close enough to 100. That's kind of wild. Highest scored on was Paul. Congrats, Paul.
We win.
You were the most scored on. Ryan was the least scored on by 100. Are you fucking serious right now?
Mickey Mouse. Mickey
Yeah,
Mouse
is there
sample.
some Mickey Mouse action going on in there? Before we get to that, I do want to let's look at this fantasy football hub that for the fans out there. Just before we get to the bracket, we're gonna I want to look at like the power rankings and stuff, and everything that we had here. This is the website that, remember, Paul, we went through like real quick when you're
Yeah,
like, wait, there's cool shit. Now I
yeah.
think
Right
I have
after.
to go ahead.
I
Sorry.
was gonna say right after last week's episode, we were fiddling around in here for about 30 minutes, being like, "Oh shit, look at all these crazy stats and whatnot."
Yeah,
So
and there were a ton of different like scenarios and stuff we could go through. It looked pretty sweet. Add private league. All right, so first off, let's check this, because you don't have power rankings on ESPN because they only do like, this is how we're projecting where people are going to end up, but it's not really power rankings. So based on power rankings, they believe Steve is the best team by a wide margin, actually. The next highest is Kyle, and then this is wild. Okay, I wonder if this doesn't have to do with what your team currently looks like, because I'm still there in fourth. But I guess this is power rankings on the year. They have Steve first, Kyle second, Ryan third, me fourth, Chip fifth, Gorman sixth, Dave seventh, Austin eighth, Mike ninth, Nick, then Dewey, then Paul. So I think that's like a full season thing. The playoff machine doesn't really mean anything. Like, it's already over. Is this like if we were to like change history or something?
I think it just picks.
Yeah, okay. That's there's no point in that. Does that save our picks? Okay. Let's playoff odds. I mean, everything's already decided, right? It does look like it might be like a week behind. All right, this is what we want to see though. The schedule comparison.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Oh, so this doesn't have last week's shit though, for whatever reason. Doesn't matter. Let's just go through. This was the schedule. How the schedule comparisons went based before this past week. Okay, so one thing that to notice right off the rip, you look at Get Well Nick Chubb. That's Ryan's team. I would have gone 12-1 with Ryan's record. Kyle 10-3. Kyle 10-3.
Me.
Paul with Ryan's
7 wins.
Yes, if Paul had Ryan's schedule, he would have gone 7-6. Gorman 8-5. Dave 9-4. Nick, who is 4-9-1, 7-6. Steve 10-3. Dewey, who is 4-10, would have gone 7-6. Mike would have gone 12-1. Austin would have gone 11-2. Ryan did go 8-5, and Chip went 10-3. So, Ryan, I know you're listening to this, and for anyone else listening out there, we have dubbed Ryan's schedule this season the Mickey schedule. He had the easiest schedule of the year, and it's no knock on Ryan. His team scored points, and you can't control who you play. But I think he's kind of on fraud watch right now, wouldn't you say? And it would only fuel his haters more if he were to not make a deep playoff run. If Ryan loses in the first round, they're going to be coming for him for that Mickey schedule.
Yeah. If he goes out there and throws up a 75 on the scoreboard, we're roasting his ass, that's for sure.
Yeah. So that's one thing to notice. The other thing to notice is that Austin's also had like a similar type vibe, it looks like. Now Paul actually Gorman would have finished 6-7 with Austin's schedule, but everyone else finished over 500. Let's see, where is this? Yeah, so that's one thing I noticed then. The other thing to notice is it shows your record each week against team. I want to see how many times, Paul, you would have gotten beaten by almost everyone. 2-9, 1-10, 3-8, 2-9, 1-10, 0-11. 2-9. Yeah, that's crazy. Paul, this year against the entire league went 38-105.
Not bad.
Gorman, the tie helped him out. He went a perfect 71-71-1.
That's crazy.
That's actually awesome. Mike 68 and 75. What did I go? 85 and 58. Yeah, so this was just a fun little thing. It's called the FF Hub. If you go there and you have to like put your league ID in and stuff and do a couple things, but who was the most scored? You were the most scored on, right? Let's see how everyone would have fared with your schedule. So I would have gone 7-6, so I still would have done pretty well. Kyle 8-5. Well, you're right.
Yeah.
I would have gone 7-6. Kyle would have gone 6-7 with your schedule, Paul.
That's crazy.
Gorman would have gone 6-7. Dave would have gone 6-7. Nick would have had a couple more wins. Steve 9-4. I think that's what he was. Dewey 5-8. Mike 5-8. Austin would have gone. Austin went 9-4, and if he had your schedule, he would have gone 4-9. Ryan would have gone 7-6 with your schedule. Chip 8-5. So you highest scored on, like you went through it a little bit. I bet Dave's looks a little rough too for people. Kyle must have had some weeks where he did like really bad or something, or his good weeks must have coincided with like guys who scored a lot against you. So this website's kind of fun. We're gonna use that more next season when we go for like playoff odds type things. But yeah, no, that's just pretty good.
Instead of looking at the ESPN dumb shit.
Yeah, exactly. Now let's look at the playoff brackets. So as you guys know, Steve, first round bye. Congrats to Steve. He earned it when you start off as hot as he did with such a point discrepancy above everyone for those first like 5 weeks that he was like getting 30 points from the Cowboys defense every week. He was able to sustain that all year. Now, who would Steve win or who would Steve play if he or who is Steve going to play in the second round? It's going to be between either Chip or Gorman. Remember, last week Chip and Gorman played each other. Chip won 137 to 126.
Yeah.
So a little rematch.
We got a rematch back-to-back weeks.
Back-to-back weeks rematch. There's not really a narrative going on there as much as Gorman and him played last week, but it's still pretty good. From a narrative perspective, we don't have a lot going on here either in our next one. The six or let's go to the bottom first. The 2 seed is Austin, like we said before, and he's going to be playing number 7 seed Dr. Suck. So it's a brother matchup in the first round. I don't know if brothers have ever played in the fantasy playoffs. We could probably look back and find that, but that's a lot of years to look at, and I don't feel like doing that right now. But we do have a brotherly matchup. Now, like I said, unfortunately, I've lost everyone, and Austin kind of gained some players due to people getting injured. So this might not be like the best matchup in terms of like it being a close week. But a brotherly matchup is always good. I have a chance of like Austin and Nick's team. I like historically dominated. I went 0-2 against Nick, and I could be going 1-2 against Austin in one season, which is wild to think about. And now the 3-6 matchup, Ryan got off to such a hot start, man, but he drops to the 6th seed and he has to play the best team in the league, Kyle. So, like I said, the Mickey schedule for Ryan, he's going to be tested here. And I don't know, man, you lose to Kyle like all year long, people were saying that Ryan was a contender. He was up there with Kyle and stuff, and people were trying to say like, no, he has a Mickey schedule. One of these pushes coming to shove right here. Either we're confirming the Mickey schedule or Ryan's going to show that he belongs with the big dogs, Paul.
Yeah, this is truly the test of time right here. He's going to either be embarrassed or be a king.
Yeah, so just right now off the rip, I'm going to say I'm going to have some narratives that we're going to go off of, but for each like team and stuff like that. For Steve, the narrative is he won it all 2 years ago, came last place last year. Is this just an every other year thing for Steve? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But Paul, what do you think about that?
Well, Steve does have a bye week. He, earned it, doing good things all year, I guess you could say. But the real matchup I'm looking at is whoever comes out of this, Gorman versus Chip, because they just played. Obviously, they had 127 to 130 or something like that. So they're both on hot streaks. If whatever the winner has, they'll probably have 130. So Steve will play someone who's scored 130 twice in a row, probably. So
yeah, so
it's gonna be a close one.
Yeah, we have a narrative matchup there with just it being Chip and Gorman, but a narrative in general. Chip, a newcomer to the league, made a complete roster overhaul late in this season. Is that going to pan out for him? Is the season ruiner gonna actually have helped Chip win his season? And then Gorman, he won it all a few years ago. Also, he's looking to get back on top. And then when it comes to Ryan and Kyle, like Ryan, another newcomer looking to make waves. And also for Ryan, the narrative there, he loses his first round pick, Nick Chubb, like second week of the season or whatever. Or was it first week? It was second, wasn't it?
It was week 2.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So Ryan's just doing this for Nick Chubb, and Ryan didn't spend any of his money after he got down to $24. He's kept Nick Chubb on his team. So Ryan's just doing everything for Chubb. And also, like I was saying earlier, Ryan, the Mickey schedule, he's got all these narratives around him. He's trying to prove the haters wrong. He's trying to do it for Chubb. But I don't know. Mickey might get the best of him. And then Kyle, obviously, he's been ever since Dak and CD and Jahmyr Gibbs and like they all turned into the best players ever. Like Kyle's just the clear favorite right now. That's pretty much all you need to know about him. Kyle also has been looking for this championship for a while. His first year in the league, he got second. And then I want to say last year he got like third or fourth or something. Like his team, I think he got third
he's always
last year.
contender.
Yeah, he's been looking for a championship since he joined in 2019. And then when it comes to Austin, people are saying Austin's got a Mickey team, and Austin's never been there in the playoffs. Sometimes experience helps, but sometimes, his name is Cleveland Browns 2023. Since he is going up against my decimated team, I think that this could be like a Cleveland Browns 2020 type deal. They make the playoffs for the first time in forever. They get a playoff win early, and that creates momentum going forward. So Austin, first year in the playoffs, will the inexperience get to him or will it fuel him? And then the narrative is I've just fucking lost everyone, and can I overcome injuries and get a win here? Like try to push through all the injuries. I'm pretty much like the fucking current day Browns. Have you seen that we have like 15 players on IR, Paul? Like our entire fucking team's injured.
Yeah. Everyone's either like done for the season, like DeJuan Jones just got announced, Okonkwo or whatever the fuck is the linebacker. Yeah, and then someone else.
Delpit.
Also. Yeah. And
Delpit, and I think someone else also. Regardless, but yeah, no, we have like so I'm pretty much like that. Like it's like, can we? Plus, I basically have fucking Joe Flacco starting at quarterback because I lost Stroud and Herbert. So we got a ton of narratives going into this thing. We asked you guys who you guys think is going to win it all after looking at this bracket. Paul, do you want to look at the results of that poll?
Yeah, I'm eager to see what the fans have in store.
So here are the results. We polled everyone. We got 15 answers. The most selected Footbap member was Kyle. 40% of the votes, almost half the votes, went to Kyle. The second most chosen Footbap member was Steve. 1/3 of the results, 33%. And the third highest voted on was Austin. And then after that, Chip got a vote and I got a vote. No votes for Ryan or Gorman. But we went through and we got some anonymous messages on why they voted the way they voted. Do you want to go through those right now, Paul?
Yeah, I'd like to hear it.
So we'll start off with Kyle, who got the most votes. He's officially the favorite to win it all. One of the reasonings was he's a dark horse every year, and I think this is the year he gets it done. A member said that. These could be members of the league or fans of the league. Also, not all these people were members. Some are just the fans that listen along. Another reason for Kyle is he plays Ryan, who is a Mickey team in the first round, which is basically a bye week. So again, the Ryan Mickey narrative is going strong because that was one of the responses I got was that Ryan is a Mickey team. So they're trying to say Steve doesn't have an advantage having the bye week because playing Ryan is basically like a bye. Do you have any thoughts on that, Paul?
I got to agree with that anonymous voter. I don't know who it could have been, but yeah, I took the words right out of my mouth, I'd
say. The other anonymous message we got for someone who voted Kyle said he traded for Amon-Ra and the Lord will make Mike pay for giving him up for Josh fucking Dobbs. So again, that's going back to one of the worst trades we've ever seen in Footbaps. Although I will say Mike got Mike Evans out of that, and Mike Evans outscored Amon-Ra. But besides this past week, yeah, no, those are some of the reasons we got for Kyle. Now Steve, the second highest voted on member, so the second favorite to win it all. One of the reasonings we got for Steve was he has a first round bye and he avoided having Kyle in his bracket, so he wouldn't have to play Kyle until the championship. Plus, Chip and Gorman aren't that menacing of a second round matchup. So obviously, if Steve gets a bye in the first round, so second round he's either going to play Chip or Gorman, and they're trying to say that first of all having the bye means he can't be eliminated, and second of all in the second round Chip or Gorman, they don't think that Chip or Gorman are that good, and apparently neither do the voters because Gorman got no votes and Chip got one vote. Another person who voted for Steve said for the reasoning he's a good guy, and I don't know if I can disagree with that one. What about you, Paul?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, solid reasoning. Can't disagree.
And the other reasoning we got for Steve was I just have a feeling. So Steve, it seems like a lot of people, they're picking Steve from the heart. They just have a feeling. They think he's a good dude. They want to see him back on top. Now let's get to Austin, the third most voted. So Austin is officially the third most likely team to win it all, according to everyone. The third favorite to win it all. One of the reasonings for Austin winning it all was they said he has a similar team to mine in another league, so I'm going with my heart. And the other reasoning we have for Austin, we actually got response from both the people that voted for Austin. The other reasoning we have for Austin is because he gets lucky. So
that's what it takes sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes being lucky is better than being good. All the championships I won actually were when my team looked like shit. I had lost players and stuff. Like, not to the extent this season. I'm not trying to say that I have any chance to win it all this year, but it was years that I lost my first round pick, or I lost like and my team was kind of mediocre, and then it just kind of caught fire at the right time. And now we did get a response for so that was Austin. Now we have the reasoning for the person who voted for Chip said he avoided Kyle's bracket, and now we're seeing a trend here. One of the votes for Steve said he avoided Kyle's bracket. One of the votes for Chip says he avoided Kyle's bracket. So at the end of the day, it seems like those are picks mainly just to go against the Kyle pick, because Kyle is the favorite. But they said Chip avoided Kyle's bracket, and Steve's team has fallen off the pace. Plus, he also has great playoff matchups, and his team is hot right now. And I can't disagree with that, Paul. What do you think?
Yeah, Chip's team is, I think they're projected like the most out of any team. It's been like 115 or so the past few weeks. And we just saw him score 130 something. So, yeah, he's doing well. But I must say, the season ruiner did roster 3 of his starters, which means that I'm guessing at least 2 of them will score 4 points or less.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Okay, that's a Paul guarantee. How many of 2 of his teammate players are going to score 4?
Yeah, so Nico and DK, I'll just say that because I don't think Lamar.
I think Nico's out this week. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, all right. Well, then we'll go DK and Lamar scoring. Lamar below 10, DK below 4.
Okay. So Paul, it's a slow burn for the season ruiner. You're saying you helped Chip out, but now you're thinking that it's going to come back to bite him in the ass. It actually was a season ruining moment. I think you just want to have an excuse to say your trade wasn't terrible.
Yeah, that's really it.
And now we have, like I said, one person voted my team for whatever reason, but I think this response here explains why someone voted for me. Their reasoning for why they voted me to win it all said I meant to vote for Chip. So actually, the way it should be is Kyle has 6 votes, Steve has 5, and then Austin and Chip both have 2 votes. So me, Ryan, and Gorman are like, we're like the fucking Vikings and Giants and Seahawks of the NFC last year. Where it was like, these guys aren't fucking winning it all. But it should be fun, man. It should be fun. Those are the responses from you guys. Now me and Paul, real quick, we're gonna go through and pick our own brackets, how we think things are gonna go. So I'm gonna pick first. Between
that, I just gotta shout out Footbap Nation. We sent that survey out maybe 2 hours before the episode started. We got 15 responses in that short time. Yep. Just goes to show we got loyal fans out there ready to do what we need.
Yeah, that was really nice. I was even saying to Paul, I was like, it might be too late. I don't know if we'll get responses, but yes, we got 15 responses in like an hour or so. Great stuff from Footbap Nation. We love you guys. Thanks for coming out as always. And let's get right into this. So, should we look at the matchups first before we pick through the bracket, you think, or should we just pick the bracket blind right now?
I kind of want to see. Yeah,
okay. That's true. So first off, let's get through it. So me and Austin in this first matchup here. Now, it's technically projecting me to win 103 to 101. Actually, before we do this, let's look at the recent activity. Recent activity. Let's see. Paul added Quentin Johnston up. Wait, we did that already.
Yeah, that was Wednesday. Thursday's where it begins.
Okay, so Nick added Alec Pierce. That was last week. This is Thursday of last week.
Yeah, hold on. How did he drop 2 guys at once? I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but Nick does it a lot. I notice he does it a decent amount
weird.
too. So Nick has figured something out that me and you both don't know, because I see him do it a decent amount. Steve added the Chargers defense. Dave added Chigioko. Kyle added Harrison Butker. Nick added the Vikings defense, which also Nick beat me by 6.
That worked out.
Yeah, he got 17 points from the Vikings defense. Dave added Matt Gay. I had to add Clyde Edwards-Helaire because fucking Isaiah Pacheco is basically announced out for the year. I don't think they put him on IR yet, but Paul added Jerick McKinnon. I was between both of them. I put all my last money on both of them, hoping to get one, and then no one put money on either one of them. I probably could have gotten both if I wanted to. Jerick McKinnon, classic. It's the classic Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He got fucking 13 touches, right? 7.8 points. Jerick McKinnon touched the ball fucking like 4 times, and of course he scores the touchdown. So I just didn't know who to pick from there of those two. Like, I knew Jerick McKinnon would only touch it like 5 to 6 times a game. So I was just, we'll see what happens there. It's fucked. But Paul got Jerick McKinnon. And now on to today. Austin picked up Ty Chandler for $8. Kyle added Dante Foreman for... So Dante Foreman did something this past week. What the fuck are the Bears doing? So Kyle added Dante Foreman for $2. Austin, the scumbag he is, picked up Joe Flacco for $1. So I am starting Tommy DeVito this week. Yeah.
Hey, he's not bad. He's Italian.
Don't fucking. They're playing the Saints, which is like a tough matchup. But if they were playing like, I don't know, Washington, I think I'd be like, you know what, maybe I'm actually don't remember him throwing for 3 touchdowns against Washington.
Yeah, neither do I. He does have a cool celebration though. Have you seen it?
What is it? Just the Italian thing?
Yeah, like the emoji, like with the fingers.
The emoji. It's more than an emoji. That lived. That was a thing before the emoji. But yeah. No, I picked up Tommy DeVito, and do you want to know how depressing this pickup was? Do you want to know what I said to myself when I picked him up?
What's that?
I said my hope is that he scores 8 points. That's my quarterback. I'm hoping that my quarterback scores 8 points. It's not going to help me win, but it's going to help me not get blown out, basically. It's fucked up, and then fucking Paul dropped Quentin Johnston. So now we have...
to end it off.
The Quentin Johnston saga was drafted by Paul on the 6th of September, dropped by Paul on the 24th of October, added by Paul on November 5th, dropped by Paul on November 15th, added by Paul on November 22nd, dropped by Paul on November 29th, added by Paul on December 6th, dropped by Paul on December 13th. So the Quentin Johnston saga...
He had a good game, though.
He did.
But now that Herbert's out, there's just no point.
There's really no point. Now let's get to the winners bracket, the playoff matchup. So, like I said, me versus Austin. He beat me the first time we played. I beat him the second time we played, but I had CJ Stroud and Isaiah Pacheco and Tank Dell at that point. So I'm going to be without all of them. This is probably going to end up being like a projected 101 to like 93-ish, maybe. I'm trying to think. -4 at the very least, and then Clyde Edwards-Helaire is probably going to get projected like 10, so it'll probably be like 101 to like 96 projection. Paul, what you can tell me what you think of the matchup before I talk about it. What do you think is going to happen here?
Well, it all comes down to if Zeke scores, I don't know, I'd say if he scores 15 or more, I think you're fucked. And then also Justin Jefferson, if he does play, I guess, I don't know what the fuck will happen there. He could have 3 points, he could have 20. So that's a tough one to call. But if he doesn't play, then he can throw in Sutton.
Yeah.
But I don't know why Jalen Warren's in there instead of like Deontay Johnson's been doing well. Or Ty Chandler he just picked up. He might have just not fixed up his lineup yet, but yeah. It's very could go either way. here.
How
There's a lot of
could you
players that
say
could
this
be.
could go either way?
I'm
Don't
saying like I'm
keep in
saying
mind this
Austin's
isn't going to be
people,
project. Oh, okay. I was going to
like
say.
Austin's players, like Jefferson or Zeke, or if he has to play Warren or Sutton or something. Like this could be the week that they get 3 points, and then you have a chance. So
Yeah, do you have a final score projection? Let's do these for the playoff
oh
games.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna say final score. I'm gonna do my own real quick. I'm gonna say the final score is gonna be Austin 93, Brandon 62.
Ooh, I was gonna say Austin like 98, and then you 92. I'll say you're
Wow, so
close.
a close game, but I think we're
Yeah,
both picking Austin to win this one. Now, I will
yeah,
say
just
one
low
thing.
scoring.
Yeah, one thing about these matchups is like I'm gonna be honest. I kind of feel like they're all guarantees. Like I would easily guarantee Austin to beat me. Let's go to the second matchup: Chip versus Gorman, and Chip just has like Chip is 2-0 against Gorman this season too. Another narrative for Gorman. I didn't realize that. Um, but Chip just has like awesome matchups. Lamar against shit ass Jacksonville defense. Raiders defense is bad. Jets run defense is bad. Philly's pass defense is bad. Nico Collins, Tennessee's pass defense is bad. And even if that doesn't happen, he's got fucking like 10 players on the bench he can play. Um, I think Chip wins this pretty easily, but what do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to think it's close, but I just can't see Chip losing
Now,
this one.
Gorman, I would imagine, is going to put DeAndre Swift in over Singletary, but maybe not. I don't know. What did Devin Singletary do? 12 and a half? I guess Swift has been doing bad. It's kind of weird. We'll see what happens there. Regardless, I don't think it matters who he plays. I feel pretty confident guaranteeing Chip's gonna win. Would you guarantee a Chip win here?
Yeah, I think it'd be close again, just
Oh yeah,
because the
projected
fact that
final
they both
score.
scored a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
projected
fact they
final
both scored a
score.
lot. I'm gonna go with Chip 118, Gorman 108.
Okay, yeah,
So lost by 10.
I'm gonna say Chip 130 to Gorman 102. I think that I think Gorman's going to have like a 35 point AJ Brown game, but everyone else is going to do poorly. I
Yeah.
think Derrick Henry's going to get like 20 points too. I think everyone else is going to do bad basically. And I feel confident guaranteeing a Chip win there. And then also with this one, now first of all, Kyle is projected to win 115-5, and that's because Ryan's lineup is just Tyler Algier. So that's going to change. I'm not sure what the
Gotta respect
final.
that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the final projection is going to be. I'm going to guess it's going to be projected like 115 to 101 or something. They split the season series. Kyle lost a 143 to 86 in week 3, so throw that out the window. But this past week they played each other, and Kyle won 95 to 87. Look, if Ryan can't beat Kyle when he scores 95, how the fuck is he going to beat him in the playoffs this week, right? I think
Mhm.
this is another Kyle guaranteed win.
Yeah. I'd like to another thing I wish they were closer, but I just can't see it happening, unfortunately for Ryan. If he does pull it off, that'd be a miracle.
Yeah.
Uh, but Keenan Allen being out, even though
Oh
he wouldn't
yeah.
have Herbert anyway, that would just be shitty.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else just doesn't look great. So
Did he
maybe
drop
he'll
King?
start
Oh, there
Gabe
he goes.
Davis and he'll get
Oh,
a 25.
wait just a
That could be it.
second. Gabe Davis.
He just had 0, didn't
Yeah, but look.
he?
19 0 9 0 20
He's got
0.
to start him, dude.
This is the 20-point week he's going to get from him.
He has to.
And then if Ryan wins, he'll play him against the Chargers and he'll put up 0. So he's got to play Gabe Davis. No,
Mhm.
this is tough, man. So the playoffs are fun as always. It would have been a lot funner, I think, if it was like if we had one good matchup in the first round. But unfortunately, I think Austin, like you know how we do, Paul, me and you have done like in college basketball, NFL, like whatever. We've done the guaranteed win parlay, and we
Yeah.
basically pick like we've done really heavy favorites, but I do a lot of parlays where I just pick like 3 to 5 teams that are like playing at home in college sports, so football or basketball, college football, college basketball, just like 3 to 5 teams that are playing at home that are only like that are somewhere between like minus 300 minus 500 on the money line, like parlay them together for like plus 100 to plus like 300 depending on how many teams I pick. Like this would be one of those situations where I would go Austin's probably minus 400 to beat me. Chip's probably minus 350 to beat Gorman. And I think Kyle's probably minus 450 to beat Nick. Like, I would parlay those motherfuckers together and throw that in my fucking bet slip and put it in. Like, just feels like
a comfortable amount where you think it'll happen.
Yeah, it's like it's a very comfortable amount on top of the fact that Gorman's playing at home this week. Wait, that doesn't help anything. But Austin's at home this week, Kyle's at home this week. Like, that's the winner's bracket. What it looks like. That's the right now. Do you want to go through the consolation ladder right now? So
yeah, we got some good matchups in the consolation matchups.
Yeah, we have Paul versus the bye week. Let's see. I think this man's gonna lose that somehow. And then we got a Dave versus Mike losers bracket rematch. So Mike doesn't have his quarterback in yet. Yeah. Oh, and Madison. Yeah. So he's gonna. Yeah. This score's gonna be projected closer. Mike is 2-0 against Dave this year. We did talk about that earlier, but I kind of forgot. I think Dave takes this losers bracket matchup. What do you think?
I think Dave's gonna take the whole consolation bracket.
Dave's gonna
just as revenge.
Yeah, Dave's gonna wreak havoc on here because he's gonna Hurts is gonna go off. Seattle, Giants, Arizona. Like, Hurts is gonna score 30 every single week. I think Dave's gonna win the losers bracket easily. I think he's gonna win that matchup easily. And then we got another brother matchup, but this is in the losers bracket. Dewey versus Nick. Who do we think's coming out on top here? I'm gonna say go ahead.
I was gonna say they're both at 4 wins. That's pretty impressive to be at this point after
Dewey won by .02 in week 9 against Nick. So
classic revenge. I was gonna say Nick, or I even read that. I'm thinking Nick, his late season resurgence. Yep. It's gonna keep going.
Yeah, I agree. I think Nick takes this one. Lockett's 2 hit or miss for me. Devontae is 2 hit or miss. He's starting 2 tight ends. Dewey, I'm talking about. I think Nick takes this one. Losers bracket. Now let's pick through our bracket now. Now that we know these first round matchups, so I'll pick my bracket first. Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, like we had just talked about it, Chip is going to. Oh, I gotta hit start the tournament. Apparently, Chip is going to win. Oh, okay. Why is this not working? Oh, now it's gonna work. Okay. Why is this happening? What is this shit? Okay, I have to report the scores apparently.
1-0.
All right. Should I type the score? No, that's gonna be too much work. So Chip's gonna beat Gorman in the first round. Austin is going to beat me in the first round, and Kyle is going to beat Ryan in the first round. This is sweet. This
Whenever it loads.
Pretty nice. Why is this, dude? What the fuck is this website, dude?
It's like the one that all the gaming ones use.
Yeah, and I've never even had this much trouble before. What the fuck is this shit?
Press the play button, maybe. Yeah. Well, maybe not.
Oh, dude, what is this fucking shit? Okay, finally.
Oh, there
Kyle is going to beat Ryan in the first round. So I have in the semifinals Steve versus Chip, Austin versus Kyle. Now, unfortunately, Kyle versus Austin is not going to be any contest. Kyle is beating Austin. I know that for a fucking fact. Now, Steve versus Chip, man, this is kind of close. No, it's not. One. Chip is winning easily. Chip is winning easily in this one. I'm telling you, Chip's team is on a hot streak. He's got the playoff matchups. I'm pretty sure at least for the first couple weeks, he's got the really good playoff matchups. Chip is going to take down Steve in the semifinals, and then we are going to have in the finals Kyle versus Chip. This is my bracket, by the way, everyone. This is Paul's probably gonna have different. This website fucking sucks. So Kyle versus Chip is my projected championship matchup. Now I know I'm going I'm going like a little like against the grain by saying Chip over Steve, but I don't really think so. In my opinion, Chip's team's better. I feel like I'm taking the chalk by taking Chip versus Kyle, but this is where I'm gonna not go chalk. I'm gonna have my fantasy footbap winner, Chip. I'm picking
Really?
Chip to win Footbaps this year. I think he's got he the season ruiner. It's just the way everything's gone this season. Paul makes his name the season ruiner and then ends up inadvertently helping a team win a championship. Would be the perfect ending to the season. Paul just getting fucked, getting kicked in the balls over and over all the way to the very end. I think Chip gets to avoid Kyle's bracket, like some of the people were saying in their responses. Chip avoids Kyle's bracket. Steve's gonna come off his bye week, and I think Steve's gonna not be on his A game. He had a week off. He's not gonna pay attention to picking up and dropping people. Maybe he gets an injury. And I think Chip wins that one. Like I said, Chip has good matchups, and then he's gonna get to Kyle, and Kyle, what's gonna happen is what's happened before is Kyle has the team, he gets to the championship game, and it falls apart. I think that Kyle's going to get to the championship game week 17. Let me just check some of his players schedules real quick. I just want to see who like Dak and Chip play. So week 17, yeah, like Detroit isn't even like a great matchup, and then Gibbs would be playing the Cowboys that week. So I just think Chip's gonna get there. Kyle's gonna get 18 points from Dak and 10 points from CD, 5 points from Gibbs, and we know if Kyle doesn't get 30 points from Dak and CD, each one of them, like if he doesn't get 50 to 70 points combined from those two, Kyle loses those games. And I think he'll have the run. It's going to be like me the few years ago where like those games I was showing where I put up like 130 for like 3 straight weeks of the playoffs or 2 straight weeks of the playoffs and then put up 60. I think that's what's going to happen to Kyle, and I think Chip's going to take it all.
Wow.
Yeah. What do we think about that?
Well, yeah, I don't know, man. I sent. I don't know if you want to just use that. I drew up a little
Oh,
something in the Discord chat if you just want to pull that up
yeah. Did
instead
you?
of using this shit ass website.
Yeah.
In our chat, yeah. Uh, yep. So that's my prediction right here.
Whoa.
I'm
So
thinking,
we differ totally.
yeah,
You said that you
we're
picked
pretty
Chip
different.
over Gorman, and now you're picking Gorman over Chip.
Did I actually? Well,
You also said
uh,
Austin over me, and now okay, go through your picks. Go through your picks.
did
You
I actually?
switched up entirely,
All
dude.
right. Well, as time passes, I, analyze a little more in my brain. So, uh, I think we just forgotten Steve's team. He's been top dog all year for a reason. He's just been kind of coasting. He's locked in that one seed. I think he just stopped trying these past few weeks to, I don't know, motivate his players to score more or make the right starting
Giving
moves,
his
all
guys
that
some
shit.
rest weeks.
Yeah. He's been resting them. He's been just prepping for this full final 2 weeks in the playoffs run here. So, but that doesn't mean he's going to win at all. I just think that Steve will make the championship. But before that, the Chip versus Gorman matchup, um, I, I say a lot of things that I don't mean, maybe that I
Mm-hmm.
just say to say. But when I say the season ruiner rostered some players on your team, that's not good news for you. So I don't think Chip can win, just
Okay.
based on the fact that I had a few players and his playoff time, the most important time of the year. I don't think they're going to come through for him. So Gorman's team also just scored 120. I keep saying that, so I think that's important. Gorman's
Mm-hmm.
team's hot. Debo Samuel's actually not rancid ass. He's kind of picked it up,
Yeah.
so that's a pretty big deal. If he keeps that up, then I think Gorman will win. So that's the top part of it. Bottom half, Kyle has a bye week. We already talked about that.
Yep.
And then I think I know it's you and Austin. We're saying Austin probably should win all that fun stuff, but you know, maybe Pacheco plays. Maybe Herbert won't be back. Obviously, he's done for the season. But I'm thinking Danny DeVito is the
Danny DeVito. The
is the future. I think he's gonna get you a win. So that's where that came from. And then Kyle obviously is just a great team. So Kyle, Steve, top two dogs. Wait a minute, is that what I said?
Yes, Danny DeVito is gonna lead me to a fucking fantasy football championship, dude.
Wait, how? Type in his height.
Oh my god, yeah. I wonder how tall he is. Let's see. Would that be on like his? Actually,
Yeah,
I should probably just look it up. I don't know if it'd be in his Wikipedia. 4'10". Yeah, Danny DeVito is gonna lead me to a fucking victory, according to Paul. Now you got your
yeah.
semifinals laid out. You got Steve versus Gorm, Kyle versus me. What's gonna happen
Yeah,
from there?
but yeah, I'm thinking Kyle is just the better team.
Yeah,
We've seen this coming. He'll score a
Kyle,
lot.
low key, the more I'm thinking about it, I think he might have he might have a first and second round bye.
I
He's
wouldn't say second round. It might
Dude,
be
my team is
close.
shit. If this happens, Kyle has a fucking second round bye. I think Pacheco
Yeah.
might go on IR, Paul. Don't expect him to be back at all.
Well, or Stroud just plays magically. He's not concussed. That'd be impressive.
Yeah, but he doesn't have Nico or
Does
Tank Dell or Dalton Schultz. So we didn't even have anyone to throw to.
Yeah, true.
I think Kyle might have two a first and second round bye, but I stand by my chip pick.
Yeah.
I still had Kyle in the championship, so fuck everyone. Go ahead though.
Yeah. But Steve and Kyle, they just been top dogs. Chip, I just can't. I've been talking down on him all year. It's nothing against him. It's just the fact that I called it at 5-0. He was supposed to miss the playoffs. He was very close to doing that.
Well, remember,
So
you
now I
have
just got to
Steve
keep.
versus Gorm right now, and you're still ragging on Chip.
I'm just saying, yeah, because you have Chip winning it all. I'm defending that part of it.
Okay.
Like he has a good team, yeah, but it's just the fact that he has
And
players from my team.
He's got some historical
Yeah.
ass members on his team.
I'm a little salty, and my prediction was very close to coming true, and I'm a little salty about that. So I can't. If he has success, I'll just look like even more of a dumbass. So can't have that happen. But yeah, Steve and Kyle, best two teams, I think, and between those two, I'd say Kyle is the better team. So yeah, it'll be quite a matchup.
Yeah, this is I think that I think Chip has the better team and the better matchups in terms of going against Gorman. And I think Chip has like an 80% chance to win. But Gorman's been here before. Again, like Chip's this is his first year in the playoffs. You don't know what kind of mistakes he could make with his lineup. Steve has been great all year. Like Steve versus Chip is a toss-up to me, total toss-up. I'm going with Chip because I'm just going with the matchups, and I think that Steve might underestimate Chip. And then I'm going with Chip over Kyle. That was just because I think Kyle's just not going to get 60 points from two players that week, and then that'll be like the downfall. But Kyle, Steve, Chip, it's got I'm willing to guarantee. That is a Brandon guarantee. Steve, Kyle, or Chip are going to win it all. Is that safe to say? It's going to be one of those three. Yeah,
I'd agree for sure.
So, at the same time, Kyle gets to avoid like any kind of really competition until the championship. Like Steve gets a first round bye, but at the cost of playing either Gorman or Chip isn't really a great draw. Like if this were a NCAA tournament bracket, like Kyle would be the team that I would pick to win it all because I'd be like, all right, he has the easiest path to winning it all, and Chip would just be like the 5 seed that I take to upset one of the teams to get to the championship. And then I'm like, all right, I feel safe like with this, whatever. Regardless, that's how me and Paul think this is going to go. Those are our brackets laid out there, except for mine deleted Chip from winning it all for some reason. Yeah, those are the matchups. I mean, there's no point in checking the final standing projections because I think they're just literally what the projection or what the final standings are. We don't have any new messages this week. That's a bummer. That's a major bummer. But did I forget anything, Paul? I don't think I did.
No. Yeah, we definitely covered everything. It's going to be an insane week.
Yeah, this is playoffs are always fun. I know the matchups aren't great, but maybe we could see some crazy upsets because I really think if I were to beat Austin or Ryan beat Kyle or Gorman beat Chip, I think those would be really big upsets. Like that would, don't expect it, but like if they happen, that'd be huge. So everyone who go ahead.
I'm just gonna say one of those will happen. That's pretty much a guarantee. Something like that's gonna happen.
So you're guaranteeing one of those will happen. I'm guaranteeing none of those will happen.
Yeah.
We'll see who comes back. Now, the one thing I will say is who do you want to win it all? Like who are you rooting for?
Oh, I'd root. I'd root for Kyle
Okay.
because he's never won, but he's always in contention literally every year since he's been part of it. I
Uh-huh.
think one year maybe is a bad year, but yeah, every other year he's just been top 3 or 4, I swear. So
Yeah.
he deserves it. He deserves to get that ring. Being top scorer, he's setting himself up for success. So I'm
Yeah,
feeling
yeah.
it.
He's been top scorer in the league twice now in the like 5 years he's been in the league. That because that first year, remember me and him were in the same division, same record. He outscored me by like 10 points, and because I didn't get that bye, like if I had that bye, I outscored all the playoff teams the next 2 weeks, but I lost in the first round. Um, so that sucked for me. I'm going to go with who I'm rooting for. I'm going to say it's Ryan, and I'm saying it's because of the Nick Chubb narrative. I think it would be really sweet if Ryan lost his first round pick and then won it all. I would be a real feel good story. I mean, it's already a feel good story that he made the playoffs. He's a first year player. If he were to win it now, like after not playing fantasy, it's his first year playing fantasy football. So like
Yeah,
I
he
think
didn't
that
know
that
any. He named what 5 NFL players maybe before the season. Now he probably knows a lot of them,
before
which
the
is good.
season started, Ryan had never heard the name Patrick Mahomes before. Like he never heard the name Josh Allen. He had never heard Christian McCaffrey. He didn't even know who Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelsey were. The only
Yeah, that's true.
players that Ryan knew when we asked Ryan to name 5 NFL players, he said Brett Favre, retired. He said Donald Driver, retired Packers wide receiver. Greg Jennings, retired Packers wide receiver. Sterling Sharp. I was like, dude, Sterling Sharp played for the Packers in the 80s. I don't even know where you got that from. And then he said Amon Green, which I was like, that was an early 2000s Packer running back. Like, Ryan only knew early 2000s Packers players, and he was still assuming they were in the NFL. So, like, this would be huge for a guy to come in and basically his only knowledge is from like a 5 year period in the 2000s of the Packers. For him to come in and like win a championship off that knowledge would be it'd be something else, Paul.
Hmm.
Who would
I'm
now? Who do you not want to win it all?
Chip because I've been a Chip hater of his team all year.
Every single week, I'll be like, we'll like be like, "What's your bold prediction?" You're like, "Chip fucking trips and dies." That's what my prediction is this week. Like every time, you're like, "I hope that Chip never wins a single game of anything in his life, and I hope the Jets relocate and that they never win a
Not the
Super Bowl."
Jets, dude.
No,
Nothing against the Jets.
he's a Jets fan though. That's why
I
you
know.
said
I didn't say that.
it. That's so fucking funny though. If I had to pick a team I didn't want to win it all, I think I'd go. Whew, I think I'd go Steve because he won it all 2 years ago. I'd want a new winner. I really don't think I'd
Yeah.
mind anyone winning it all. I think Austin might
Oh,
piss me
Austin.
off a
Yeah.
little because he
I was gonna
scored
say
like
Austin would be
nothing.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be funny.
so it would piss me off that he scored nothing, but I think it would piss me off less if he won it all. Then I'd be like, it was all worth it, you know. Like even though his team sucked all year, he still won it all. Nick did that a few years ago when he beat me in the championship. His team was like mediocre, then he won it all, and it was like, whatever. I mean, he won it all. What can you say? But yeah, I'm rooting for Ryan. Do it for Nick Chubb, and Paul is rooting very hard against Chip.
Nothing new since week 5.
All right, Paul, you got anything else to say to the fans?
Nope. Until next week.
All right, until next week, Football Nation, Footbap
Football
Nation.
Nation.
Until next week, Footbap Nation.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.